Hi everyone, I'm Arthur Dickens and it's my Rugby Legends podcast. In each episode, I interview an amazing rugby player or coach, get their insight and advice for young rugby players just like me who are keen to learn and get better. In this episode, I'm speaking with Ollie Lawrence, Bath Rugby and England centre. Ollie is a beast of a centre. He's big, quick and very skillful. In his first season at Bath, he won the Premiership Player of the Season. He's represented England at under 18 and under 20 level, and now 33 full England caps and counting. I hope you find Ollie's knowledge and wisdom as helpful as I did. Enjoy. How did it feel when it was your first game for England against Wales?
Yeah, it was pretty special. It was cool being 16. It was crazy because at that point it was almost like the pinnacle, even though now I look back, it definitely wasn't. As I got older, I managed to play against Manu and play with him. That was kind of like a full circle moment for me because I grew up obviously idolising someone, and then to play alongside them was pretty special. And a lot of the work is unseen and it's just me against me. There isn't other people watching at times. And I think the biggest one I live by is I am who I am. I guess everyone's given a gift to be who they are in life, and I think you should just stay true to that. When you get to do what we do for a living and play rugby, playing in front of thousands of people, it quickly makes you realise how lucky we are to do what we're doing. My debut for England was pretty special. Just being able to pull on that jersey and step onto the field for the first time was really cool. I think my proudest moment is getting a professional contract to play rugby. It was a dream as a kid that turned into reality, so I don't think I'll ever take that for granted.
So, Ollie, as a schoolboy, you're a really good footballer and cricketer. Can you tell us about that?
Loved all sports. Played football, cricket, rugby, tennis, like anything really. I was pretty sport mad, and my parents were keen for me to get involved in everything. So yeah, I did a lot of sports, but yeah, football and cricket I probably took to quite well when I was young, and I managed to play a bit of academy football and a bit of county cricket and stuff growing up. So yeah, I loved it, and still to this day, I love it when we have training and stuff and we're kicking a footy about, or if we're playing cricket or messing around. It's always fun.
What position did you play in football?
I've had a mixture really. When I was younger, probably a bit younger than yourself, probably played in the midfield a bit more, and then as I got a bit older, I was pushed into defence. I was a bit more solid back there, so maybe because I was a bit bigger than the other lads, maybe they wanted me at the back.
Were you a batsman or bowler in cricket?
I was a batting all-rounder, so I batted probably 4 or 5, and then I usually bowl in the second spell. But yeah, I'm not as quick as I used to be with my pace and my deliveries.
Thank you. And at what age did you give him up for rugby?
So it's probably about 14 or 15. I probably stopped playing football at club level when I was about 12 or 13. So I went to secondary school and we didn't really play football there. It was mainly rugby and cricket terms. So in the September through to January, February, we played rugby, and then as spring, summer came on, we played cricket. So it was probably about 11, 12, I stopped playing football, and then I stopped playing cricket when I was 15. So I did under 15s counties at Warwickshire, and then after that, when I turned 16, that's when I was let's just give it a go at rugby, and then I started playing a bit more rugby then and taking it a bit more seriously.
Thank you. And what made you choose rugby over these other sports?
I think something about rugby, just being involved all the time. Probably also when I was younger, the physical element of it, I really enjoyed, and I probably thrived in it at a younger age because I was a bit bigger than the other boys around me. So I think just my passion for something going on the whole time, and my brain constantly needing to be active, and like I said, throwing yourself around, making tackles, running against people. I seem to love it, and I wasn't too bad at it. So yeah, I kind of stuck with it at that.
That's very interesting. Thank you. And when did you know you were going to make it as a professional?
I probably hoped to be professional when I was about 16. So I moved schools when I was 16, and I went on a scholarship to Bromsgrove. And I think then I probably realised the level of what I wanted to get to. So I was playing academy at Worcester, and we did these trials for England under 16s, which is the first time you could represent any sort of country stuff at age grade. And I managed to get selected, and I had played we had a game against Wales, and that was my first like international age grade rugby, and had a really good game. And kind of then as soon as I moved to Bromsgrove, I was like, yeah, right, okay, let's give it everything and see if I can get a contract. And then I managed to get one when I was 17, and the year after I left school, I joined up with Worcester.
How did it feel when it was your first game for England against Wales?
Yeah, it was pretty special. It was cool. It was obviously being 16. It was crazy because like at that point it was almost like the pinnacle, even though now I look back, it definitely wasn't. But yeah, no, just being able to, like I said, represent your country at a young age and go out there with all the other lads and boys that I'd known since I was come through the age grade with and played against and meet up with all the other boys from around the country was really cool, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And which players inspired you growing up, and what was inspiring about them?
There's probably quite a few. I think I got into watching rugby quite late. I didn't really start like watching it regularly probably till I was about 15 or 16. So at that time, people like Manu, Sonny Bill Williams, like players like that, people I watched growing up, and was like, yeah, like I'd love to be like them. And I guess then obviously as I got older, I obviously managed to play against Manu and play with him. That was kind of like a full circle moment for me because grew up obviously idolizing someone, and then to play alongside them was pretty special.
What was it about him that you really liked?
I just loved how he played the game, like his physicality and obviously the way he used to make these big tackles and big carries. And he was like fundamental to a lot of England's success during the early 2010s and into through to 2019 when they got to the final of the World Cup. And I think the aura about him, everyone knew that when he played on the field, like he meant business. And I loved now obviously playing with him as well, seeing the side of him off the field and how calm and chilled he is. I think just the aura about him and his all round like personality was something that I think any player should aspire to be like.
That's very interesting. Thank you. And when did you know that centre was your position? Was this your decision, or did it come from a coach?
So obviously growing up, you just kind of get thrown around everywhere playing like tag rugby, and I somehow managed to find myself being playing centre, maybe like 12 or 13, and seemed to be the position for me. I had one coach that tried to play me at number 8. That lasted one game, and I got moved back, thankfully. But yeah, at school I played 12 pretty much the whole time, and then when I moved to Worcester, that was the first time I played 13, and then ever since I've at club level at anywhere I've always been 13, and then obviously at international I've played a bit of 12 as well.
What do you love most about playing 13?
I love probably just like the space and time we get on the ball, and also in defence you get there's a lot of probably not pressure, but there's a lot of responsibility on you to make decisions, and I quite enjoy having that responsibility. Like you can kind of be like the glue that holds the defensive line together, because I guess after me there's only the winger and the fullback that make the last ditch tackles. So I like the responsibility of being able to call how we're going to defend, and also I like it because sometimes I stay out of the tackles as well, so it's quite nice.
Yeah, if I was a bit bigger, I'd love to play 13.
Oh,
What other positions did you play growing up?
I played both centres, 10 and 12, 12 and 13. Played 8. And trying to think if there's anywhere else I played. I think I've played back row like a couple of times when we've had a sim in, and I've only had to go there for scrum time, luckily. So yeah, the rest of the time I've always been a back. So thank God for that.
Thank you. And what skill did you have to work the hardest on growing up?
Oh, that's a good one. I think as a centre, I think passing ability. I think I always like loved just throwing the ball about, but in terms of like pass accuracy and just being able to be comfortable with the ball in your hands, I think is something that I definitely probably honed in on as a skill growing up. I remember when I was younger, like my left hand passing wasn't as good as what I wanted to be, and I used to just stand at the end of my bed and just fizz passes into my pillows, which still to this day I probably should keep doing because yeah, sometimes my left hand passing isn't great, but I get away with it at times. But yeah, no, I think my passing was probably the biggest one, and probably also my lines of running. I had a coach at school called Mr. Dawes. Simon Dawes now I can call him because I left school. But yeah, he taught me a lot about like lines of running and how to come onto the ball at pace. And that's probably something I've taken on into the professional game, and I'd say also is now, I'd like to think, one of my strengths.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And what did you enjoy most about playing centre?
I love like how you're constantly involved within the game. Like a lot of stuff seems to come down your channels, whether that's off set piece or whether that's in open play. You're constantly just involved, and I guess I like that. And I guess on top of that, the physical element, like I'm usually making quite a lot of tackles when I'm at 12 because you've got forwards running at you and backs. But yeah, I think just like I like being in the center of the field and kind of having the options to link up with the forwards and also have the opportunity to have the space on the outside as well.
Thank you. And what is the best piece of advice a coach has given you?
I think the best piece of advice I was given probably had a couple really, but I think as a schoolboy, like I said, back coach Simon Dawes, he was big on making sure that I just was myself, but kept 2 feet on the ground at the same time. So I guess what I mean by that is he wanted me to feel comfortable in my own shoes and kind of express myself in the way I wanted to, but at the same time be conscious of the people around you and conscious that people look up to you at the same time. And that kind of followed on to secondary school, sixth form with my coach at Bromsgrove, Tony Window. And I had a conversation with him when I first joined, and he kind of explained to me that him as a coach, there wasn't much that he could do in terms of improving me as a player, like skill wise or on the in that sense, but as a leader and as how to kind of bring the best out of the players around you, that's probably something he pushed me on more. And then I ended up like obviously captaining a couple of times during my last year at school, and I think that definitely helped me moving on into the professional game. And then I guess finally my backs coach at Worcester, a guy called Matt Sherratt, he's a good friend of mine now still, and he was probably the person that again instilled both of those two elements into me, and just always trusted me to be myself, and told me to just back myself and back my ability, because that's what got me to the position I was in.
Do you still talk to Simon Dawson since then?
Yeah, so I still speak to all three coaches now. I do joke around with him and say that he's the reason I made it to where I'm at now. And although he doesn't like taking the plaudits, I definitely say he played a massive part in me kind of growing up playing rugby and figuring it all out, I guess.
Thank you. And what's the one piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to play centre?
I'd say the one piece of advice I'd give is try and be as all-rounded as you can. So be really good or as solid in defence with your tackles and making reads, and then in attack, your ability to ball play, but also to carry. I think having an all-round game as a centre is really important. I think you need to be versatile, and you need to be able to, I think it helps you in the long run being able to play both positions, not just one.
That's very interesting. Thank you. And Ollie, you're currently not playing because of an injury. How do you stay positive in this situation?
This is an interesting one, really, because I've had a while now since I got injured. So it's been about 12 weeks since I got injured. And I think for me, my mindset's kind of, as soon as it happened, I was quite emotional, especially like on the field as soon as it happened, because I knew that it was going to mean I was going to be out for a while. So I kind of let all that emotion out. And then since then, I've actually just enjoyed being away from the game a bit. I think just not being involved fully with the team as much as people might think it might be really challenging. Like, it's kind of been nice to take a step back and watch from a different perspective. And I've enjoyed being part of the team's success in terms of watching them win the Challenge Cup and the Prem Cup, and now getting into a final on Saturday. So in that regard, I think dealing with my emotions, I let it all out pretty early, and from then I've just kind of flipped a switch in my own brain and realised that, right, this is an opportunity for me to get better as a player, and I'm trying to thrive in that area as much as I can. And a lot of the work is unseen, and it's just me against me in a sense, and there isn't other people watching at times. And I guess the hard work that I put in behind the scenes will hopefully allow me to be a better player when I come back.
Wow. And what are you doing in this time?
Lots, really. I think the main thing, especially when I got injured, was the recovery side of things. So I go in the hyperbaric chamber, which is it's like an oxygen chamber basically that helps with like healing and allowing the body to recover. And making sure that I'm doing as much as I can in that regard. But I guess away from that, I've been doing lots of gaming, which I'm sure you love doing as well at times. I've started to learn how to play the piano. I'm getting there, but I'm not that good at the moment. And I'm also taking French lessons as well, which I've been doing for a while now, but I'm starting to do that more and more, because it's something that I think is a good tool to have in the kit if ever one day I wanted to take my talent abroad.
What sort of games do you play?
At the moment, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I do play Fortnite sometimes with FIFA, but Call of Duty, a lot of the lads are playing at the moment. So we tend to spend a lot of time on there once we've finished our days playing rugby, or for me, just doing rehab.
Thank you. And what rituals do you have before a game?
I tend not to have any anymore. I used to be big into doing my boots a certain way, so I always used to put my left boot on before my right. But I've kind of gone away from that now, and I'm not really too superstitious heading into games. I kind of just wing it, I guess. Like a lot of the prep work I do is all in the week, and I kind of focus on that as much as I can. So that means then when it comes to game day, I'm not worried or thinking about anything other than going out there and enjoying myself. So I wouldn't say I've got any superstitions. Sometimes, about like the last few seasons, I wear like the same boxers for games. So at England, I have a certain set of boxers, and at club, I have a certain set of boxers, and I just basically wear them the whole season until they're probably not able to be used again, and then they get in the bin. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing else I have.
Well, thank you. And are there any mantras you live by?
I think the biggest one I live by is "I am who I am." That's something that I came across when I was maybe 18 or 19. I even actually got it tattooed on me. And that's something that I think is really important for me in terms of keeping me grounded and remembering who I am, and making sure that I always stay true to myself in whatever position or environment that I'm in, because I think I've made the mistake before of being in certain environments and maybe changing the way you are or trying to please people, but I don't think that ever gets you anywhere. I think you're going to be in the position you are in life, whether that's in sport or whether that's in a job. And I think you get those opportunities from the work you put in beforehand. So there's no point changing to be somebody else, because I guess everyone's given a gift to be who they are in life. And I think you should just stay true to that.
Where's your tattoo?
It's on my arm here. It's just there. It says "I am who I am." And yeah, I remember when I got it, my mum wasn't too happy because she doesn't like tattoos. But yeah, I followed up by getting a few more. So yeah, but definitely think about them before you get any.
Thank you. And does it change how much you enjoy playing rugby when it's your job?
So that, when I was like 18, 19, 20, a lot of my friends were all at uni. So they were all like out all the time, like all together having fun, going away on summer holidays and all that kind of things. I think when I was younger, I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or like, I wish I could just like go and see my mates and go on holiday with them. But at the same time, when you get to do what we do for a living and play rugby, play in front of thousands of people, you get like a brain, like a kind of a rush of blood to your brain, and it just makes you realize how lucky we are to do what we're doing. And I wouldn't change any of it for the world. Like I love my job, and sometimes it can be seen as a job because, like I said, you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday we're training, and then we play on the weekend. But for me, like it's all worth it. Like to play in front of those thousands of people on the weekend, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow, thank you. And what do you eat before a game?
Depends really. It depends what my partner's cooking. A lot of the time it's pasta based. I do like a chili con carne. We've had fajitas a few times, but yeah, usually it's chili con carne or lots of pasta.
How long's your training?
So we usually start the day. We have like a meeting around 9 o'clock. So there's like breakfast on at the club. It's the same with England. Like we have breakfast in the morning, and then we'll have either a meeting of some kind in the morning, and then we'll train and do like meetings, gym, back session, team session, and then our day probably finishes about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So yeah, it's probably from 9 till 2 or 9 till 3. It's not far off a school day probably.
It's very helpful. Thank you. And what is the best thing about being a professional rugby player?
I think the best thing is being able to do what we're like so talented at and perform it in front of thousands and thousands of people. I think, like for me, I see the weekends as like our showcases. Like we get to go out there and perform in front of thousands of people and put smiles on their faces, and I love that. Like honestly, I don't think you can ever get bored of it, and it's a pretty special feeling. Like I said, to make people like yourself that go to watch games and stuff with big smiles on your faces and cheering for us. That's enough for me. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that comes with being in the public eye and being professional athletes and the sacrifices that you make. But I think, like I said, being able to perform and showcase our talents on a weekend is, yeah, it's a really special feeling. It's something that I think a lot of people enjoy.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And what's been your favourite game?
God, I've had a few. I had a Challenge Cup game when I was maybe 18 or 19 for Worcester, out in France. We had a bit of a rotated team. We sent all of our younger lads, and that was one of my first like kind of big games for Worcester. And we ended up managing to win. And I had a pretty good game myself. But that was a really enjoyable game, like a weekend, because like I said, we went to Paris and we got to travel around and play against such a big team and then managed to win. I guess the whole weekend as a whole was really cool. My debut for England was pretty special, although it was in COVID and there wasn't any fans. Just being able to, like I said, pull on that jersey and step onto the field for the first time was really cool. Uh, and then I'd say, trying to think if there's any others really. There's heaps of games I could probably say, but I think those two, especially for me, like I said, that one at probably 19 when I was coming through Worcester, that was my first season, and that probably gave me the confidence to realise I could push on and push some of these first team players to be starting. And I actually ended up playing about 15 or 16 games that season in my first year, and off the back of that, the year after, I managed to make my debut for England. So I think that probably kick-started a lot of things for me.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you. And who is the best player you've ever played with or against?
I've played against some good players. I mean, it's hard to go like to shy away from. Obviously, I've played against people like Antoine Dupont, like Bowden Barrett, like players like this. I think like Ardi Savea. I think those are all players that are incredible, like incredibly talented, and will go down as some of the best players to ever play the game. But I think for me, in terms of centre wise, I think the best player I played against was Semi Radradra. When he was at Bristol. I think he was an exceptionally talented player, and he had an unbelievable like time at Bristol. So I think playing against, he's probably one of the toughest opponents I've played against. And then played with is my favourite players to play with. God, people are listening to this, they're going to be like, "Why have you not said me?" At Worcester, I'll just do one from probably each club. So at Worcester, I'd probably say the best player I played was Bryce Heem. He was a winger that we had at the time, and I think I haven't seen too many wingers that have the ability to just give him the ball and he just creates things out of nowhere. He was raw speed, raw power, one of the most talented players that I think I've ever played with. At England, that's tough, but there's probably a few people I can throw into the hat, like Marcus, again, like unbelievable players, unbelievable talent. Both Faz and Fordy, I think the way they operate within a training week and how they play within games, I think is amazing. I think they're exceptionally talented players. So I'm probably going to say them. I think in terms of watching them train and how they then perform on the weekend and the level of composure they have when things aren't always going right, I think is really good. And then at Bath, I'm probably going to be biased and say Finn Russell. So there's quite a lot of tenure there. So that probably says a lot because they're the ones feeding me the ball. But Finn's he's probably one of the best I've played with, and he's a good lad as well.
What made Finn so good?
I think similar to the other 310s that I spoke about, I think his ability to just stay calm within like the pressure moments. He never seems too fazed by things, and I think that kind of gives confidence to the team to not worry about things when it's not going too right. We just crack on and get on to the next thing. And I've had that mindset since I was pretty young. I don't get too fazed by things that have gone wrong. I just crack on and do the next thing. And he's probably a level above that. And then you add his ability of passing and being able to put people into space. And he's probably got the whole lot really. So he's definitely up there with one of the best players I've played with.
Wow, thank you. And what are you most proud of in your rugby career today?
I think my proudest moment is getting a professional contract to play rugby. It was a dream as a kid that turned into reality. So I don't think I'll ever take that for granted of being able to be given the opportunity at Worcester to turn professional. And it was one thing I wanted to do to make my parents proud and to obviously they sacrificed a lot growing up to give me as many opportunities as they could. So to kind of go out there and play in front of them and them see me kind of all the hard work and everything they went through to get me in the position kind of come to fruition was pretty cool. And that's something that I think will always stay with me.
Thank you. Are you going to the stadium this weekend? Are you watching it from home?
No. There's no way I'd be able to watch that from home. No, I'm going down with the team tomorrow, so we're travelling down. We've got like a captain's run at Twickenham. which would be weird because it's the first time I've obviously been down there and I'll be on the pitch since I got injured. So it'll be nice, bittersweet moment. But yeah, no, I'll be down with the team and I'm really excited to hopefully go and see them lift the trophy.
What do you think the score will be?
I think it'll be tight in the first half, but I think we'll probably go. I reckon I'm going to go with 31-19 to Bath.
Who do you reckon will get player of the match?
Finn or Ben Spencer. I think there is those two. If they're on their day, like they were in the Challenge Cup final, I think we're going to be really tough to beat. I think everyone in the squad is exceptional, but I think those two they can make our team. I'll make our team tick. And I think if they're on the money that day, I think it will be sweet.
I reckon it'll probably be maybe 27-13 to Bath.
Okay, good. As long as you got Bath winning, I don't know.
Touch wood.
Touch wood.
And last question. Who of your rugby mates do you think would be a good guest for my podcast?
Who would I like you to talk to next? I reckon Marcus would be a good one. I think he's gone through a lot of highs and lows over the last year. But also I think his pathway through to England and to where he is now is a pretty cool story. And he really kind of thrived at a young age and managed to kick on and, like I said, represent England and take Harlequins to their first championship in a while. And obviously represented British and Irish Lions in 2021 and again this summer. So yeah, I think he's a good mate of mine and I think he'd be a really good person to chat to. And
would you be able to contact Tester then?
Yes, definitely. I'll put you. I'll drop him a message and say. Hopefully he's got a bit of time on his hands before the Lions stuff kicks off. But yeah, if not, I'll think of a backup one for you.
Are you going to watch the Lions? Are you going to go to Australia or watch out?
I'm not going to go out there just because my rehab at the moment is going quite well, and I just want to stay on track to make sure I'm back fit for the start of the season. So I'm not going to take the time away to go to Australia, but I'll definitely be watching at home on the TV.
Thanks so much for taking your time to be our podcast. I really appreciate it, Ollie, and hope rehab goes well.
Thank you very much. Lovely to join and to speak to you. Thank you for choosing me to come onto the pod.